everybody. Charles here for HumbleMechanic.com, back again with my good buddy Rusty from BenchRacingGarage.com.
Yeah. That's my big claim to fame is you can't remember the numbers.
If you put all the things I can't remember, like,
yep,
we would be in trouble.
Yeah.
It would not fit on the camera screen. Yeah. Back again today talking about being a new technician.
New tech, early tech.
Early
we've kind of touched on this before, like when we talked about tools and stuff.
Oh, yeah, we have.
But
I don't actually think I've posted that video yet.
Okay.
Hopefully by the time you're watching this, I've posted that video and I'll put a link
on that
to
future video?
Yeah, that past video.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get rolling on the new technician thing, I just want to remind you guys, if you're watching on YouTube first, thank you very much. Mash the subscribe button. Check out Rusty's blog, BenchRacingGarage.com. A lot of cool Trans Am stuff.
A lot of it's Trans Am now because that's the project du jour, but a lot of it's just
car guy
me
stuff,
wanting to do something with liking cars.
Got a lot of cool stuff on there.
Well,
check it out.
Appreciate it.
BenchRacingGarage.com. You may or may not know me. I'm a Volkswagen technician. I talk about that.
Yeah.
Other stuff.
Yeah.
HumbleMechanic.com. Anywhere you see anything that we do, always feel free to post a comment or a question. We love that kind of stuff. We are good at answering questions.
Well, we answer them.
I think the answers are good.
Oh, I do too, but it's up to them.
Well, that's all that matters.
Right, right. And for me, Rusty, I have been in the car business for 20 blah 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 years. And I've been an advisor.
I like how you just brushed that.
Yeah, I've been an advisor. I worked on them briefly, but mainly I was an advisor and then went into service management and do kind of the numbers side of the business.
Okay.
But I got into the business because this is what I like.
You're a car guy.
I'm a car guy.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Being a technician, you know, we were kind of bouncing around what we wanted to talk about today, and I can still actually remember one of my very first few days working at the dealership. And
Really?
that was 11-ish years ago.
It's been a while.
Which is a long time ago. So between the two of us, we have 30-ish years.
Blah, blah. You missed the blah, blah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about maybe how a lot of techs get started. And, you know, me personally, I went to Universal Technical Institute in Glendale Heights, Illinois. I know they've moved to like an $800 bajillion facility.
Have they really?
Yeah, apparently it's state-of-the-art and incredible.
Well, we are, I don't think it's any secret, we're in North Carolina, and so I've gotten a lot of guys from the NTI, NASCAR Technical Institute, which is the same thing.
Sister stores or
right.
schools.
It's the same school, only there is a NASCAR wing of it where, man, talk about doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And moderately useful. But they
learn how to change tires fast.
So. They can do that. They can build race engines. Man, it's a good thing it wasn't there when I was a kid because I'd have spent a lot of money doing that.
A lot of money. What a cool place, though. I mean, we were
beautiful
there.
Place. They do a good
last
job.
year sometime, I think.
Yeah.
But NTI is not the only one. There's Lincoln Tech, Wyotech.
Right.
We had a fella come from a community college that was in the automotive program.
And there are thousands of community college programs out there.
I really missed the ball on doing that in high school. I think you got out like half a day.
Yeah.
What a moron. Why didn't I do
We didn't have it. All we had was woodwork. Matter of fact, there's a bench over here that I made when I was in 7th grade.
Is that part of your racing garage?
Yeah.
Get it?
Yes, the bench racing.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
That's not
It's a fast bench. It didn't take long to build it.
But there's a million ways you can kind of put your foot in the door in the industry.
Then you got the young guys who worked with their father, uncle, the guy they knew. He started a shop sweeping the floors and just kind of learned things as they went. Now, the only danger there is you're learning what the guy ahead of you is teaching you, and how did he learn?
Well, we've had the conversation a million times. Is it easier to teach someone or unteach than reteach someone? And
I like it from the get-go.
I do too.
Yeah.
I really, really do. But those schools all have their pros and cons. It's very expensive to go to a lot of those schools. I mean, I think they're tweaking like $30,000 for just the basic automotive, at least at UTI. But there's value in it.
There is value in it. I mean, they teach you the basics. They have, and when you go to one of those schools, you can go on to a manufacturer school, a lot of times free of charge.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. And then learn the specific manufacturer that you are interested in working for.
Yep.
But there's a ton of ways to get into the business. It's a little difficult to work at a dealership as an apprentice because not all dealerships have an entry-level position.
Right.
We've developed one fairly recently that at least we can evaluate what kind of person it is.
Yes,
So.
and to me that's the big thing. Like, if you know about cars a little bit and you look the part. I mean, I didn't look like this on the day I got my first job, obviously, because I probably wouldn't have gotten hired. It took me a long time to be able to earn the respect and the credibility to be able to look like however the hell I want. Be
yourself.
That's one way to put it, or look like a schmuck. Or that one guy from some weird TV show that's like some obscure.
Oh, yeah. That's something I meant to say in a couple of earlier episodes, is that you had this look before that
really
show
did.
Became famous.
I've never even seen that show.
No.
I did get mistaken for that guy a lot when I was in Houston.
Did you?
Yeah, I signed an autograph. It was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
The lady thought.
And I've had this for eons, so this has nothing to do with.
So obviously there's some sort of
something about a loud show. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But when you're starting out and you're a young technician or you want to be a technician, there's really a few key things that I think most either dealerships or service stations or race teams even, I think they're probably the most strict about
some of the things we're going to talk about are just generic. If you want to go work at a bank.
Yeah, or anywhere. If you want to be an employee,
right.
Which if you don't, awesome, do your own thing.
Yeah.
I'd get behind that all day long.
Yeah.
Folks doing their own thing, but
you got to look the part.
You got to
look right. You got to come in and look respectable, act respectable, and you have to be someone that the place that you're going to work at is willing to teach, because that's what's going to happen. You can go to all these schools, and I've told guys even that went through the basic program, and then they go to the manufacturer program, and then when we get them, we would consider them green. At that point, it's time to learn your car line and what that dealership wants you to do, or what that place wants you to do.
Basically, the expectation of like your first day, week, month, year kind of thing, and what you're looking for.
I did go to one school one time looking for a young man, and this young guy who hadn't graduated yet came up, and he goes, first question was, "What are you paying?" And I'm like,
whoa.
What? And
I can tell you guys real quick, if that's your first question to a potential employer as a technician, it ain't happening.
Yeah, no.
It ain't
he's
happening.
like, no, I'm going to get paid for what I know.
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, well, what do you know? Well, I've been through all these classes. I'm like, man, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so do 800 of the other people wearing that same blue shirt that you got on. That's too bad. It's we had talked a while back about kind of new school versus old school and some of the lost skills, and interviewing for a job or just all that whole idea is probably a huge
shocking.
Lost skill. I mean, I don't want to like stray into job employment psychology or anything, but
it's kind of what we're talking. We're talking to guys who are interested in becoming one. But the dichotomy of the people that come to interview are, you see the guy walk in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Hey, you hiring? And for what? I don't know, technician. Okay.
I don't know either.
I just decided to be a technician just while I was walking in.
Right.
No. The answer is no. But you get a young man that's come, or woman, that's come to me, and because I have hired a female technician before, by the way, it comes up and says, hey, I love this stuff. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I have done this, this, and this, and this, and I've decided to go to school. And some people may not have been able to go to a school like the ones you mentioned earlier, or they may be attending them now. But if they have invested something in their career already, I'm much more likely to invest the time and energy and money that it takes to develop them as a technician. So yeah, you put the work in first, and then come see us.
That's some really good advice, because I think a lot of people think being a technician is sort of you consider it a blue collar job, which a lot of people think is like a substandard job, or you don't need a 4-year degree, so immediately it's less important than.
There are a lot of old stereotypes, and back in the day when a lot of guys who couldn't do anything else would go work on cars.
But we talked about old school versus new school, and we're talking about guys laying their hand on an engine saying it's a bad valve spring on cylinder 8.
They could get away with it.
You can't tell me those weren't razor sharp dudes. Well, it's
just like everything else, and you got razor sharp guys today, and you got guys who just can get things done. But back in the day, you got to figure back in the day, I'm talking about like 30s, 40s, 50s. A lot of guys who didn't want to do anything else, they would go work on cars.
Can you guys see this fly on my beard?
But nowadays, it is a vocation. I understand that, and I would call it that. Well, in the general sense of the term, but it's a fantastic vocation. Yep. It is not a simple one.
Nope.
You have got to be someone. I would mainly looking for people that you could probably train to be an engineer.
Yes.
If you had decided to be an engineer,
yes,
you could train to be an engineer. But now we're looking at someone who wants to work on a vehicle, because they can, they may work on their own car, may make it faster, but this car they can just make run better.
Right.
So you need to look at it a little bit differently.
So yeah, it's interesting even in my as a technician in the same place, long career, but overall as a work career is fairly short. Seeing the difference, the way people interact with me when I was a young technician versus now, and I don't necessarily mean like my skill level, I mean just the overall attitude of the industry. Mm-hmm. I started in 2004, and it was, I'd wear my work shirt home, and somebody would be like, "Oh, you work on cars?" Like they felt sorry for me. I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool, you know, I don't have to sit behind a desk all day and look at a screen and blah, 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 blah." I mean, I do that
until their car breaks down.
Yeah, well, I do that all the time outside. But, so people would look down their nose at me, and that's not just because I'm not very tall. It's just because
it takes a while.
There's a stigma. There's a stigma that if you work on cars for a living, you're, a dirty redneck or you're a grease monkey.
Okay, but it takes a while for those things to change.
Well, I think what really shifted that was in 2008, 2009 when the economy collapsed and the whole shift happened. I think people realized that there's a value in skills like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they don't know. I'm out of a job. I sat behind a desk and crunched numbers into a computer all day, and now a machine has replaced me. Yeah. And I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
let's say if you were a mechanical engineer or an industrial engineer or something, and I'm not trying to pick on anything, but
unless it's whoever designed some of these oil filter setups.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm just going to let that go.
If you can take what someone does, let's say they do it, if you can do it from home, you can do it from India.
Yes.
Or Germany, or Zimbabwe, or wherever. You're working on folks' transportation. The phrase I always used when I was recruiting a technician was, one day we may have flying cars, but by God, those flying cars will be here, and when they break down, of course, it's a bigger deal if they break down if you're flying. Right. But they have to be fixed here.
Right.
And so if they have to be fixed here, then you're not going to ship it to India to get someone else to fix it. It's a great job right here. It's very similar to the vocation of plumbing or electrician or whatever. Exactly. It's a very highly skilled business. Again, you also have those guys who have gotten into it that may not be quite as talented, but when you're the good one, man.
I think what we'll see over the next 15 years is maybe a shift where a really high skill, bless you, talented technician is paid more, does less physical work, and does more mental work, and almost has an apprentice or a trainee putting the parts on.
Could be.
I don't know if you had seen, there's a video of one of the new Tesla models where they drive it up and it's all mechanical, it's all computer controlled, battery comes down, battery's replaced. There's sensors that line up everything and torque settings on all the tools. So to say that parts of our job won't change.
Oh, it'll change.
Basically it's not responsible to not be able to look at the industry as a whole and go, 30 years ago it was this way, now we do 10% of that same thing, the other 90 is different, so what's our 90% going to look like? And that's all things you really, as a technician, whether you're new and it's your first day, or whether you've been doing it for 10, 15 years, 20 years, you need to understand this industry has evolved, from 1970 to 2010 evolved XYZ amount,
Yeah.
it's going to be exponentially higher in the next 40 years than it was the last 40 years.
What's going to happen in the future is probably a great topic for like a 4-hour show. Because we don't...
Or a 4-second show. We don't know.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we agree on that one.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about a young guy coming into the business, I think it would be a mistake for anybody to look at this as just a blue-collar job. I think maybe technically it might qualify because you're working on something. You're actually working for a living.
Right.
But to take the aspect where it's not a respectable position, I think is a mistake. I mean, I've seen guys come straight out of a school, and of course they go through that first year, 18 months, 2 years, and they're, just like that deer learning to walk, and they're kind of wobbly.
I remember those days.
Yeah, but become very, very talented technicians, and then what that career has afforded them is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Guys with the toys or the houses or whatever it is they want to do, a lot of them have been able to do that and achieve that because it's a good field. Well, like I said, a lot like plumbing or electrical.
And the way I like to explain it to people when they say, "Oh, you work on cars for a living? Isn't that hard?" Well, yeah, it's hard, but one, I don't have to sit behind. And I'm not in any way trying to sell someone on doing this career. It's just a way to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't sit behind a desk. I get to buy a buttload of tools that most people would be very envious of, and I don't have to have a reason to buy them. I mean, I do. They're to fix cars,
right?
Except
some of them you just want
because they're cool.
Yeah, right.
But look at it this way: what happens on Saturday afternoon when your toilet stops working? How much is a plumber worth?
Wow. All of the money at that point.
Depending
on the position you're stuck in.
Well, but a plumber is worth a ton at that point in time, and it's the same for a car. What's a technician worth when you're on a road trip with your family and your car breaks down and you need someone to bail you out? That's who you go to. So it's a respectable career. It's a hard career. You can't be stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be, but you'll be bad and you'll be ran out of the industry very, very soon. So, when a technician says I've been doing this for 6 years, they're probably a pretty sharp person. Yeah,
they probably have to be, or at least if they're in a decent place to work.
Yes.
But getting back to our original topic, is this a good career for a young man to go into or a young woman to go to? I think it's fantastic.
It's worked really well for me.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. And like I said, whether we're working on all electrics later on or not, somebody's got to fix it.
It doesn't matter.
Hovercraft, somebody's got to fix it. Turbine, I don't think we're headed to turbine, but that could be cool. They actually built one in the 60s. Did you see that? A turbine car? Yeah. The only problem is it would melt.
Was it the Batmobile?
It would just melt the windshield of the car behind you.
That's his problem, not yours.
Yeah. But either way, if you're working on these things, the reason I find it respectable is that not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the aptitude to do it.
Not everybody in the industry can do it that's trying to do it.
That's true. And a lot of industries are that way. But if you have the aptitude to be good at this, man, you can just about write your own ticket.
I would agree.
Fantastic.
I would agree. So when a new tech starts, and you've seen a ton of new technicians come through over the years, how can you explain their first day? Like they've got this really great job, and they've secured it in a beautiful dealership or a beautiful service station, and they roll their little toolbox in, and now they just stand there like, what do I do?
I have heard dozens of other service managers talk about baby stepping a technician into work. Now, we're going to baby step for the first few days just because the guy needs to know where the bathroom's at and what his policies, procedure, and the time clock and blah, 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 all that kind of how to work the computer. So you baby step through that. But when it comes time for him to start turning wrenches on the car, I am of the mindset, while I am carrying this new child,
because at this point, most technicians aren't on like a flat rate system.
No,
they're hourly.
You can't. They'd starve. Okay. I mean, they'd die. I guess the best analogy is throwing the kid into the deep end of the pool because they're going to have to learn how to swim. I want them to start working on bigger things. Now, there are some steps to get that, but I want them on the biggest thing they can possibly do as soon as they can do it, with guidance. Not by themselves, but with guidance. And the reason is they get that during the headlights look, let's say pulling a dash out of a car. Oh my God. You know, I didn't think I was going to be doing this for a year.
There's 8 billion screws.
Yeah, I'll never get this back right. You know, hope you could hear that. That's their mindset. So if with guidance, you can get them through that massive hurdle and then get the car put back together, and with guidance, it's right.
Yep.
Then what's his first thought going to be?
I can do this.
I did it.
Yep.
I can't believe it. I
Yep.
did it. And I learned this process along the way because, to be honest with you, the schools teach these guys how to do brakes and oil changes and
Right.
belts and hoses and scanning, all that kind of stuff.
You learn a lot of theory in those schools. The theory
Right.
of an oxygen sensor, the theory of, you know, how XYZ component works, or the theory of CAN bus communication. And you don't actually do the work.
Yeah.
You learn about the work.
You learn about how to do the work. And now, let me ask you a question. Would you rather me, if you were a new guy right now, would you rather me baby step you up from a minor service to a middle service to a major service, and then maybe a timing belt, and then a rotation and doing tires and alignments, and then 3 months from now when you go on a flat rate, or 6 months, however long it takes, then you start hitting the hard jobs? Which one makes more sense?
I think for me, like, knowing what I know now, immediately I would say, give me the hardest stuff you got.
Right.
You know, back then, I think I would have been like, you know,
Just let me get comfortable.
Maybe, you know, let me figure out where the bathroom is.
Yeah.
And you had even said, you know, that's not going to be day one stuff. It's,
No.
you know, maybe week one or month one.
You're talking
type
about within a
stuff.
month, maybe.
I would like to get all of the hard things out of the way so that I knew when I go on flat rate, when I'm not just paid hourly and I'm paid by the job, I've done big jobs. So I know I can do them. It may take me a while.
Right.
But I'd rather that take me a while you're paying me hourly than I got to worry about, am I going to get a paycheck this week because I took a job, you know, a job took me 3 days that should have taken me 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with you on that one.
Yeah.
Chuck them in the deep end, because if you can't get out of it,
With guidance.
you have someone that can help you through
Right.
it. There's
Right.
someone to answer questions and
Right.
bail you out of jams. But if you're too scared to do this job, well, there's nothing financially for your paycheck on the line.
Right.
There's still, I mean, it's a customer's car,
Yeah.
dealership reputation, technician reputation, all that. But while there's nothing financially for you on the line, you know, what makes you think that when there is something financially on the line and you're pushed and you're stressed out because, you know, you worked 3 days and you only made 20 hours and now you got to make up your time?
Yeah.
How do you think that that's going to transfer over?
That'd be tough.
As it would be tough.
That'd be tough, but if you think about it this way, let's say the average entry-level guy you're carrying for 3 to 4 months. In that time, he has probably had 3 or 4 of those major projects. So even though each of those projects is different, he's learning the same thing on each one, and that is his process.
Absolutely.
His
And processes.
Yeah, his process, take it apart, make sure you don't grab all those bolts and throw them into a bag.
Yep.
You either put them back in the holes they're going to go to, or you package them, or somehow or another.
Label them in a plastic bag, whatever
Right.
you need to do.
Somehow or another, you're creating your process that this bolt goes back in this hole when I go to put it back together.
Right.
So,
And a lot of that's like even an aptitude that they would have had to have before they came to the dealership, because as someone that's trained technicians, I can say, make sure you label all that stuff.
I think you can teach that. I think that's something that's teachable.
I think you can fine tune it,
Yeah.
but I think teaching that actual craftsmanship mentality,
Right.
aptitude, it's tough.
Right.
It has to be the 1 in 1 million person that didn't grow up doing this stuff,
Yeah.
doesn't have it like in their DNA almost,
Yeah.
that you can actually teach that person.
Well, yeah, there are varied, very different. There are different
variable?
ways to do. There are different ways to achieve that, I think. So we talked about what I expect on the first day.
Yep.
Nothing, just show up.
Please be on time and don't look like a schmuck.
Yeah, don't talk a lot. Don't try to impress us.
Yep. No one cares what you know, because you probably don't know.
You don't know anything.
Yeah.
The first week, we're going to get you into, you might call it stretching exercises. Start
Maybe
doing some
calisthenics.
right, some minor stuff,
Right.
and then we're going to kind of challenge you within the first month. We're definitely going to challenge you within the first month. Now, let's say we carry this person for 6 months because they took a little extra teaching. At some point, it's sink or swim.
Yes.
So we got to put you on the line, and we're going to put you on the line. Not because you know everything in 6 months. Nobody does. There's too much. The learning curve is too
12
steep.
years. I don't know anything after.
No.
Well,
not everything. You don't
or
know
anything.
Right?
Some days it feels like I don't know anything.
Yeah. To be honest with you, a new technician, even having gone through all these schools, having seen enough of them now, doesn't really start becoming a fully grown tech until about 18 months.
I think that's a very accurate number.
Yeah, I've seen that, and of course it varies with the person,
Right.
but on average, I'd say it's about 18 months.
I think there's levels of like getting your feet under, people talk about getting your sea legs,
Yeah.
kind of getting your technician legs, where at 6 months you're like, okay, I get what's going to happen most every day that I come to work.
Right.
And then at a year you're like, okay, I get what's going to happen most every day, and I feel for the most part I can worm my way out of it or
Right.
dig my way out of it.
Right.
But at 18 months to 2 years, you're like, okay, first of all, in 18 months to 2 years, a lot's changed since your first day in
Yeah.
the industry.
Yeah.
So being new, you're usually better adept to keeping up with those changes.
Right.
Okay, I don't know everything,
Right.
but I know how to find answers. I know where to go if I don't know. I've started to develop my, work process, diagnostic process, whatever process. I don't feel like there's anything out there that I can't get through.
Right.
And it may not be fun, and you may spend 4 times longer getting through it, but you're gonna get through it. And I think at 2 years-ish is when that idea really clicks. Like, I can fix cars.
Right. And early on, when I kept saying earlier, with guidance.
Yep.
Usually you should have someone teaching.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
monitoring what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a mentorship thing.
Right.
You have to have that.
But what you don't want to do as the mentoree is, I don't know what to do. What do I do now? Well, what did you look up? I didn't look up anything. Well,
I have this fault code. What do I fix?
Right. What you have to do is, this is strong advice for a new guy, is you go exhaust everything that you know how to do. And then you bring that to your mentor. And at that point, he will tell you, okay, you really didn't need to do this because blah, blah, blah.
Right, X, Y, Z.
But if you bring me information, it's like calling a technical assistance hotline or something. Okay, you brought me this information. Now you have done this, and this. Now you're stuck. Okay, you haven't done something. Obviously, there's something else to do to fix the car. So that's what your mentor's there to do. But you don't want to just go to I don't know what to do. What do I do now?
Did you ever do homework as a kid?
Rarely.
Yeah, me too. But did you ever ask your mom, how do I spell this? And she said, look it up in the dictionary.
Right. If I knew how to do it, I gotta know
I
how to
would-
spell it to look it up.
Right. So it's kind of that mentality.
Yeah.
Why should I tell you what you need to do when you've done nothing?
Tough love. Same thing.
It's
Same.
tough.
Yeah. It's a lot like raising a kid. It's a lot like raising it. Have you heard stories about the parents doing the homework with the kids? And it's not a good idea. The kid's not learning.
Terrible at doing that.
Yeah, I haven't been able to help my kids with the homework since they were in 3rd grade.
And at that point, they had already done more homework than you did.
Dad, that's not right.
Sorry,
Okay.
honey.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that could probably be a whole wormhole to go down of, what technicians should do to get help and not to get help. But I think there's like really some basic things that every young technician really needs to bring to the table initially.
Yeah.
No, you don't know everything. And that, if you think you know everything, you probably know less than everyone else does.
Right.
Know that you
don't know how to act.
Well, yeah. You need to look the part.
Right.
Technicians are fortunate that they can look what's traditionally considered less professional. If it's not a suit and tie job.
Right.
So you don't have to fit the suit and tie
Right.
role. But you can't smell terrible.
No.
I mean, you
can't be offensive.
You have to have clean language.
You can't mess up the car you're working in. You have to be clean.
You have to be clean. You have to be aware.
Sometimes you have to go back and clean after yourself.
I have had to do that on multiple occasions where you're like, I didn't know I had that spot of grease on my shoe. Crap.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if I left this spot of grease, but
Right.
I'm going to clean it so that
so I don't get blamed for
yeah.
it. Right.
So you have to look the part, and I think for me, we talked a bit about craftsmanship and aptitude. You have to have that.
Yeah.
You really have to have that in your DNA, or you're going to be someone that's a parts replacer, and
Yeah.
someone that's probably not a good parts replacer.
There are places in the industry for those folks, but to be honest with you, if you want to be respected, and it's like anything else. It's a little bit like high school. There's a lot of peer pressure inside a shop. But if yeah,
I wish I could whistle better, because that would have been a more impactful whistle.
right. But to be respected by the guys you work with, you need to be more than a parts replacer.
Absolutely.
Now, for that young technician, and then I'll ask you this question: in that first year, how many times did you question whether you'd made the right decision or not?
I would say back then, everything I did, I questioned. Because I wasn't confident. I hadn't seen this problem 800 times, or I haven't used this information to come to a conclusion a bunch of times. So early on, it was all the time.
Yeah.
Is this really what this car needs? Am I wasting a customer's money? Is this a warranty job that I shouldn't be doing because it's not the right repair, and I'm going to have to put a different, another part or do something else to fix it? But as time goes on and you see more issues, the positive is you really develop this gut feeling.
Right.
I think we had talked about it a few shows ago, where you develop the gut feeling and you look at something and you're like, that's right.
Yeah.
You can tell whether a drivability concern is
that's a trained
fuel
gut,
thing.
though. That's a trained gut.
That is a gut that you earn.
You're right.
It's a gut
not
you've trained yourself to
Right.
listen to, because it's easy to, just like in life, it's easy to, the hair stand up on the back of your neck and you think, I'll be all right, and then you get mugged.
Right.
It's something you have to listen to and pay attention to, because you know the information.
Right.
And one thing that I've found that really challenges me is going to training sessions with other guys that, you hear their stories and they've been doing it for 20 years, and you feel like a rookie next to these fools because they know everything, so they say.
Right.
And
just ask them.
They'll tell you. So you listen to the way they talk, and they remember technical bulletins and torque specs, and I'm thinking, man, I can't remember any of that crap. And then you get into a, like a bugged car or problem car with these other guys, and they're like, well, I don't really know what to do. I'm like, you don't know what to do? Let's do something.
Right.
Poke, I don't know.
Right.
Check the fuses.
Right.
It's easy. What's fast? So early on, I questioned everything I did because I wasn't sure.
Right.
Nowadays, it still happens. I still question repairs that I make because I've exhausted all of the other possibilities. So it's really the only thing that makes sense. What is it? Occam's razor? Is that the right thing?
Occam.
Occam.
Something like that.
With an A.
Yeah.
It's like Arkham from Batman.
Okay.
I don't think that's
The simple solution is the best.
right. So
Or usually correct. How's it go?
I don't remember.
Well, you're gonna bring it up. You got to know the answer.
I did. I brought up what I knew. This makes me sound smart. That's all I'm into. So if you do something and you go, okay, I've exhausted all these other possibilities, and my gut tells me this is a fuse problem, but my fuse is good. What else in that circuit could it be? Fuse panel. Like that fuse panel I think I posted a picture on Facebook of massive wires of a fuse panel that I had to repin. And the whole time I'm doing the job, I'm like, is this going to fix it? Is this going to fix it? It can't really be anything else, but I guess it could.
Right.
You could pull the magic silver bullet on the computer box, but that's like $1,000.
So if you're questioning yourself now, as a young technician, they're going to question themselves every move they make.
I hope they are.
Right. My point originally with them would be, that's normal.
Yeah.
Expect that.
If you don't question what you're doing, either you're incredible, or you're incredibly arrogant, and you really don't know what you're doing.
So it's normal.
It is normal.
Because it's learning. It's a learning curve. That's why my expectations are low at the beginning, and they grow based on the progression of the new guy.
Right.
So, but that's just how life works.
Yep. I think the one thing techs get caught up in, new guys, is they're new in the industry and they think, I got to get a Snap-on toolbox and I got to have $100,000 worth of special cool guy high test tools, and The truth of the matter is, I think I started with a Craftsman box that I got for like $700. And
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, you need your basic hand tools because the shop doesn't have general hand tools, but we have the special tools that we
Right.
need. I think our place has $400,000 in special tools.
it is not cheap to open
It's
a Volkswagen
a lot of
dealership.
money, but they're weird tools in most instances.
Yeah, one function tools.
Single function.
Or they all function as a piece for the press, I think, too.
Right.
Every piece, no
Right.
matter what they're made of.
yeah. The multi-tool as a press.
Yeah,
doesn't work.
it's, you know,
But you need to have the basics, but you don't have to go break the bank to get the basics. Now, if you have to borrow a tool twice, then put it on your list to purchase.
yeah, gosh, new guys, stay off the tool truck.
Yeah.
Seriously, God,
For a while.
I've seen dudes go into $5,000 in debt like that.
It has its place.
You have to have the proper tools to do your job, but you don't have to have them your first day.
No,
you don't have to have them
go
your first
get
week.
$10,000 worth of debt the first day,
Ugh.
or the toolbox the size of a truck.
Yeah, or a school bus.
Anything else on the new guys?
Attitude,
90% of it.
be on time,
Higher attitude, train the skill.
look like
That's me.
you're halfway decent.
Yeah.
You don't know everything. You probably don't know anything.
Yeah. Just assume you don't know anything.
Yeah, that's a better side to take of the road.
Yeah.
Be willing to learn.
Yeah.
Don't get mad when someone asks you to mop a floor.
No.
I did it.
Be willing to help. Offer your help.
I would say one last piece of advice: if you find yourself with nothing to do, no cars to work on, your bay's clean, get with the guy next to you and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Help them out, even if it's balancing their tires for them.
Right.
Or
Build a relationship in the shop.
You'll
need them eventually.
You as a young technician need the other guys in the shop.
Yeah.
They don't need you because they've been doing it before you came along, but you need help, and don't
That's
be afraid to ask for it.
Yeah.
Is that English?
That's
The
close.
second part was English.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. If you're a new tech, post a comment on the comment section.
Put a question. We'll try to answer it.
Yeah, I think this is an area that I remember very clearly. Being an early technician and coming up in my career, and some of the hard lessons that I learned.
Seen a lot of them.
Seen a lot of other guys make mistakes that I learned from, which was
That's
awesome.
funny. You can learn a lot from watching the guys do it wrong too. So I've seen guys do it right. I've seen guys do it wrong. I watched people in the position that I'm in now, the people I used to work for. I've seen guys do it right, and I've seen guys do it wrong, and that led me to be the person that I am now.
And if you're in a shop just starting out, align yourself with the guy that's good, not the guy that sucks, because they suck.
And not always the nicest guy.
No, usually the best guy in the shop's probably not the nicest guy.
because he's trying to get asked questions.
So, really align yourself with the person in the shop that is the most successful, maybe not just in hours, but in overall skill, overall repairability. If you got to take them out for a beer, I think that's $15 well spent.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anything else?
A lot of it's common sense.
Yeah. Don't be a schmuck.
Don't be a schmuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap up there. Again, any questions, post them in the comments below, and we will see you next time.
Next week.
Next week?
Month?
Next month?
Whatever. Next time.
We'll see you next time.